That's right. It's 1 p.m. and it's time to go around the world of business in 55 minutes. Welcome to Business Incorporated. Here's what we have cooked up for you for this program. In Zimbabwe, inflation is up more than 52%. And Uganda is getting $295 million loan from the Islamic Bank. In South Africa, the price of fuel, new prices start up tomorrow, May the 1st, and it's not all about an increase in this case. Good afternoon, welcome to Business Incorporated. I'm Ini John Mekwa, and we head straight into the program. Today we're starting from the global space, but not the usual oil that we would start. We're starting from the metals space. Gold prices were set for a third straight monthly gain, even as bullion prices eased on Tuesday as the dollar firmed ahead of the Federal Reserve's policy meeting, which starts today in the United States. Spot gold went down 0.2% to $2,329.69 per ounce, while U.S. gold futures also dropped 0.7% at $2,341. The dollar index edged 0.3% higher, making greenback price bullion less attractive for overseas buyers. Bullion has gained more than 4% so far this week, fueled by strong central bank buying, safe haven inflows amid geopolitical tensions. This week's important market events are the Federal Reserve's policy meeting, which we told you, of course, from April the 30th today till tomorrow, and the non-farm payrolls data, which is due on Friday. The U.S. Fed is expected to hold its benchmark interest rate steady at 5.25% to 5.5% at the meeting, which starts today. Other metals now, spot silver fell 0.6% to $26.95 per ounce. Spot platinum was down 0.1% at $946.66. Both metals were set for a monthly gain. Spot palladium were lost 0.6% to $968 per ounce. But still staying in the metal space now, talking about copper, and copper futures prices recently hit a fresh high. 3-month futures on the London Metals Exchange went up 1% at $9,997 a ton over the last week. It's gained 1.3% and nearly 17% in the year to date, considering the significance of copper, especially in the construction and other sectors, coupled with real estate boom in Nigeria. What impact has inflation had on this, and how is it telling on the real estate industry? Let's discuss that now with Halima Adediro, analyst with Financial Derivatives Company. Halima, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, honey.
So do tell us, away from the global perspective to the Nigerian perspective, what inflation has done to the price and demand of copper in recent times.
Okay, so as you rightly said, copper is a very important component that is used in the production of different products that different sectors use, like the telco, the construction, and different other areas in the economy. And we'll see that year to date, the price of copper has increased by about 17% in the global space. And this would have a trickle effect on inflationary pressure in Nigeria, because right now the construction sector is really expanding compared to what we had when there was COVID. So we have some projects that have been abandoned, being completed now. And so because copper is one of the major input that is being used in the connection of electricity in the building and all, we'll see that the cost of completing a project, a construction project, will outrightly increase in Nigeria. And that too would even extend to the rent of the already constructed constructed building, which will cause increase in rent. But beyond that, we will see that telcos too would be affected, because copper is also a very good component when it comes to expansion of their infrastructure. And so we could see an increase in the cost of call per minute and their data as well, which will also have an inflationary impact in the country. And not only that, we'll see that for now, Nigeria is generating about 4,000 megawatts, and it is not enough to circulate the demand that is needed in the economy. So if we are to expand this, there will be need for copper products in the transmission of electricity in the country. And so this will also be inflationary when it comes to cost of electricity in the country. So the increase in the cost of copper will really be inflationary in Nigeria
So
moving forward.
Halima, do we see this as a continuous trend? I mean, the hike in the price and the impact of inflation, can we expect it to hold on maybe for a medium term or so?
Presently, there are several factors that is affecting this hike that we are seeing in the price of copper. And one is the expansion that we see in the electric vehicle globally, because copper is being used for that. We also see that there is a generally global, there's increase in construction as well, and is likely to increase in the meantime. And beyond that, we'll see that there's a sanction on Russia metal by US and UK, so that those two countries are major exporters when it comes to copper, the usage and all. So because there's sanction, it will reduce the supply of copper globally. So there will be supply disruption, and we all know that whenever there is reduction in supply, it could drive up the price globally. So what we are seeing now is likely to continue, because we cannot really tell when the war between Ukraine and Russia would come to an end.
Yeah, and yet, in spite of this, Zambia, which is Africa's second largest copper producer, has not been able to tap into this benefit. Do we know why?
Well, yes, Zambia happens to be the second in Africa when it comes to copper production, but it's been affected. The production of copper in the country has been affected by various factors. One which is the electricity shortage, because drought is really really a challenge in the country. So, and because Zambia derives its electricity from hydropower, so this drought is reducing the generation of electricity in Zambia, which is needed in copper production, the mining sector in Zambia generally. So this is affecting copper production, plus reduced investments. So many individual companies that are into copper production in Zambia too are finding it difficult to get funds to really expand their investments in copper production. So this and so many reasons are causing a decline in the supply of copper in Zambia generally.
All right, Halima, thank you so much. Another potential wasted on the continent. But thank you for your views this afternoon, Halima Adidira.
You're welcome.
Well, we're still staying in that commodity space. Oil now, prices edged down in early trade on Tuesday after Israel-Hamas ceasefire talks in Cairo helped quell market fears of an expanded conflict in the Middle East, while worries about the outlook for U.S. interest rates weighed on the market. Brent crude futures dipped 5 cents, that's about 0.06%, to $88.35 a barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures slipped 12 cents, that's about 0.15%, to $82.51 a barrel. Hamas negotiators left Cairo late on Monday to consult with the group's leadership after talks with Qatari and Egyptian mediators on a response to a phased truce proposal that Israel presented on the weekend. The delegation was expected to report back within 2 days. Two Egyptian security sources have confirmed this, while Hamas leaders visited Cairo. Israeli airstrikes killed dozens of Palestinians on Monday, with more than half the dead in the southern Gaza city of Rafah, which has foreign leaders have urged Israel not to invade. Continued attacks by Yemen's Houthis on maritime traffic south of the key Suez Canal trading route have kept a floor under oil prices and could prompt higher risk premiums of players as players anticipate crude supply disruptions. Still in the oil space, but coming to Nigeria now, the issue of fuel scarcity taking its toll on motorists as we see long queues. It's also taking a toll on livelihood of Nigerians in many parts of the country. The impact has also trickled down to commodity prices, sending them to fresh eyes. Renowned economist and Chief Executive Officer of Financial Derivatives Company, Mr. Bismarck Rurani, was a guest on Business Morning earlier and spoke to this.
So it is an indictment on the Nigerian government, on the Nigerian NNPC, that at a time like this, we are still facing petrol queues after the deregulation of the industry, after reduction in subsidy. So the Nigerians are paying a higher price and getting lower quantity. So for now, and that feeds into the food inflation number, but this is aberrational. But it's not just good, because this is avoidable. Let me put it as an avoidable. We are just shooting ourselves in the foot, totally unnecessary. So what does it take? You program the shipments, you bring the quality of you assure yourself of the quality, and then you have it staggered over the period. We knew that there was Easter, there was Ramadan, there was this. So something is wrong. And between the pricing, the supply, the logistics, the ordering, and all that, and all of this tied into the fact that the refineries are not functioning.
And still on that scarcity, IPMAN Depot Chairman Forum have threatened to cripple supply of petroleum products over the non-payment of bridging claims. The chairman of the depot, who say that they have the backing of the national leadership of IPMAN, claimed that Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission NMDPRA are owing them 200 billion naira and have failed to comply with the directive of the Petroleum Minister of Oil to pay them. The IPMAN Depot chairman claimed that since the directive by the minister in February 2024, only 13 billion has been paid to their members from the 40 billion which has crippled the business of their members. They vow to shut down the supply of petroleum products to fuel stations, which will bring more hardship to Nigerians. The depot chairman say that the NNPC Limited are responsible for the current scarcity of petrol, as they are the sole importer of petroleum products. They claim NNPC Limited imports the products and supply to private depots who they sell to then at exorbitant prices of currently between 820 naira and 950 naira for a litre. They pay an extra 2 million naira to transport it to other parts of the country, making it difficult for them to sell to Nigerians at agreed pump price. Subsequent broadcasts here on Channels Television will give you details of that meeting, which I believe is almost over, holding in Abuja, where that statement was shared. Now we're still staying around the oil and gas right here in Nigeria. Let's speak with the Publicity Secretary of Crude Oil Refiner Association of Nigeria on some of those happenings. We have seen the queues and a whole lot more. Perhaps from the crude refiners' point of view, we can get a permanent solution. We have joining us virtually from Abuja, where he's part of that meeting that we just talked about. Mr. Eche Idoko joins us from there. Hi, Mr. Idoko. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yeah,
good afternoon,
tell us more about the conversations you're having at that meeting, because obviously everything connects to the queues that we see at filling stations in major cities of Nigeria at this time.
Oh, okay. So my meeting today, incidentally, it's a stakeholders engagement on community community trust, not exactly the meeting you talked about. But we do have representatives in that particular meeting, and I can tell you that deliberations are ongoing. The scarcity at this time is quite unfortunate. I would say that at this time in the lifetime of a country like Nigeria, we still have to grapple with the realities of fuel scarcity and the long queue. And it speaks to what we have been preaching. We have said eradicate the market for middlemen in the petroleum value chain, and let's become a net producer so that Nigerians can begin to reap the benefits of being a major oil producing country in the world.
Yeah, well, talking about that, we do know that, well, some representatives, lawmakers went to Kaduna Refinery. We'll bring that story after this conversation. And then they did say that we expect the Kaduna Refinery to begin about 110,000 barrels production by the end of this year, or before the end of this year. We have Dangote has promised that by May, we're getting to May, but at least before the end of May, we should be getting PMS from the Dangote Refinery. We have also expectations from the Port Harcourt Refinery. Do you see these coming together to change the landscape of energy security in the country, at least before the end of this year, 2024?
Well, putting a timeline to it would be how would I say? I don't want to misrepresent. It's tricky to put a timeline to when we could have self-sufficiency, especially in the production of PMS. But what we can say to this is that what we have seen with what had happened with the gas oil market would speak a lot to what we would expect when the refineries all come upstream. Recently, you have seen the role Dangote had played with the pricing dynamics in fuel oil in the Nigerian market space. We have seen fuel oil reduce, the price in fuel oil reducing significantly. This speaks basically to what would happen if the refineries in Nigeria begin to produce. And it's the same thing we've been speaking about as a body. We have insisted that the only way we can get out of this embarrassment called scarcity, or the embarrassment of access to refined petroleum products, is to, empower to ramp up our refining capacity locally. So yes, to answer to your question, we would see a significant drop in pricing and also availability of refined petroleum products as these refineries come on stream. Apart from the Kaduna Refinery, which would and the Port Harcourt Refinery, there are other private refineries who are built to also start production this year. I know Ezekiel is going to start producing from their condensate refinery sometime this year as well.
All right, but on the other hand, we do have that worrying factor of availability of crude. Already, it's no longer a secret or news that Dangote has to import crude into the country. So even when we have promises of refineries being operational, what do you see about the availability of crude?
Okay, so let me first off, there's nothing wrong with Dangote importing crude. Even the largest producers in the world, like the United States, there are refineries that still import crude. Crude is a function of what's the configuration of your refinery and then the assay for the crude you want to use. Well, having said that, yes, at a point, crude was going to be a worry, but I must commend the NUPRC. Concerted efforts are being made right now. As you may be aware, recently, the draft regulations for domestic crude supply obligations were put in place. We participated fully in that exercise, and I think in a short while from now it will be gazetted. I think that to a very, very large extent has addressed the issue of availability of crude, even though we are yet to see the full implementation of that guideline. But we think that when that guideline comes into full operations, it's going to sufficiently address the question of availability of crude that has hitherto been a major worry to the refiners in Nigeria.
So as the Crude Oil Refiner Association of Nigeria, where is your place in all of this? The expectations of the refineries to begin operation, the availability of crude. I know there's also the conversation around modular refineries also around there. Where are you? Where is your association?
Yeah, so yes, we have been engaging extensively with all the major stakeholders. Suffice to say that it's not there. The Quran also has members that cuts across all the refineries in Nigeria. Dangote is also a member of Quran now. And then we've been engaging with all levels of government from NMDPRA, whom we have a stakeholders meeting with right now, to NUPRC, and then to even the host communities and all that. And truly, our engagements have been yielding very, very positive results in that government is beginning to become more responsive to what our needs are. And the aim of our association is to make Nigeria not just only self-sufficient in refined petroleum products, but also a net exporter of refined petroleum products, so that we can adequately even contribute to solving the challenges of FX that we have in Nigeria. Before now, anyway, during the regime of subsidy, Nigeria used to be a route for smuggling of refined products thanks to the subsidy regime. Now we want to flip that around and say, okay, those routes to use to smuggle our refined petroleum products when we're subsidizing, it could be a route for us to also begin to export refined petroleum products to bring in FX into the country.
All right, thank you so much. Certainly look forward to those days when we would contribute FX to the FX liquidity in the country from the exports of refined products. The Publicity Secretary of Crude Oil Refinery Association of Nigeria, Mr. Eche Idoko. Thank you for your time. I wish you the best in your deliberations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, and connected to that, we did tell you about Kaduna Refinery. The management of Kaduna Refinery has assured Nigerians that the rehabilitation work of the refinery will be completed by the end of December this year. After many years, it was shut down due to lack of turnaround maintenance. The managing director, Mustapha Sungungu, made this disclosure during an oversight visit to the refinery by members of the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on Downstream, led by Senator Ifeanyi Uba. They explained that about 110,000 barrels per day refinery will start producing at 60% capacity by the end of the year, while full production will take place subsequently. Mr. Uba, who was there, also shared his thoughts and observations at the refinery.
Where we have concern is on the power plant, and we can see expatriates working on the power plant, because even if you have the entire refinery in place without having enough power to support, then we also have issues on the pipeline integrity, on the feedstock that is going to come in, because you don't have a refinery without having a transportation of crude oil into the refinery. So during the scope of investigative oversight, we have not gone through the pipelines, but we're still going to look at that and make sure that all is accomplished. 2008, that was the last turnaround maintenance. Since 2008 till now, it's about 16 years. So it's not something that can come overnight. But the good thing is that there's a resilience, there's a renewed hope in every component of this refinery, and we are very much sure that in no distance time, probably before the end of the year, they will be singing a new song. But we don't want just to make a categorical statement on that, but we can make a categorical statement on Port Harcourt and Warri Refinery.
High expectations there, Warri, Kaduna, Port Harcourt, Dangote. We hope that very soon, perhaps by the end of this year, the queues we see at petrol stations will be a thing of the past. Let's take a break now. When we come back here on Business Incorporated, we'll take you to the markets to stay with us. Welcome back. Still watching Business Incorporated right here on Channels Television. We head straight to the markets now, where I believe I saw a little bit of green. I don't know, and I hope that's sustained. Anite Edet has the details. Hi, Anite. Tell me you're coming in with some good news.
I don't know how to put it. It's the last trading day of April, and well, my good news is kind of a mixed picture, because at some point, we're still at intraday, so the numbers were still moving.
It's too soon to celebrate.
It's just too soon to celebrate.
But
and
at least,
so far,
let's celebrate the little wins. We saw 97. The market closed at 97,000
exactly
yesterday.
on Monday.
So we're at 98 intraday. Hopefully, we'll sustain that and end with the bull at the close of trade today.
Yeah, well, the market is still struggling for that recovery, and it's coming. Let's be frank. The whole month of April has been negative for Nigeria's equities market. It's down at about 6.3%, still oscillating in between that negativity, minus 6%. But so far, year to date, we're at about 31.0%, which is all the way coming down from about 36%, which we were sometime.
But you expect investors to take profits, and it is so. I mean, we cannot begrudge them.
And at the same time, there's so many other factors that they're moving at some point into the fixed income market, which I will be giving our viewers as well as some investors some details about that. Now, this is for the markets, the stock market, the equities markets from both Nigeria and then South Africa, which is on your screen right here. For Nigeria, which we're talking about, is still moving. The market is still in session. 2:30 will be the closing time, and then we'll see how the market will close. And Ini will give us that report at the close of trading on the NGX. For the South Africans, the JSE is in the red, 0.05% at intraday. On the other side of the market, for the Egyptian Stock Exchange, it's also in the red, 2.41%. That's the biggest loser at intraday, while Kenya's Stock Exchange, as at Monday, in the red, 0.72%. Now, I was talking about the fixed income market where it moves sideways, sometimes with the stock market. On Monday, we saw bullish sentiment for the bonds market, where we saw average yield declining by 12 basis points to about 22.2%. But on the FMDQ securities market, this is how it turned out. Total number of deals there, 50, as you can see on your board. Total value there, 53.7 billion naira. We saw so much of an interest for the 21st of February 2034 paper at about a price of 97.53 kobo, while the lowest there, which we see on your board, 23rd of March 2025 paper, so that was it. We also saw some buying sentiments at the short term, at the short end, the medium end, and then also not too much of activity for the long end. Now, on the other side, that's the Treasury bills market. We still also see bullish sentiment there. Total number of deals carried out there was 38 at the value of 110.59 billion naira. The one that contributed the most to that was the 10th of April 2025 paper, which is for next year. At total number of deals there, 15 for 23.06 billion naira. So that's it for the fixed income market, where at some point some investors are moving from the equities market into the fixed income market because of the high interest, the high interest yield environment, which is kind of attractive for some investors. Now, let's talk more about the equities market as the month of April gradually winds up. We just have about some few hours before the equities market closes the month of April. Now, let's bring in Peter Abe, equities trader at IBTC Stockbrokers, to join us. Thank you for joining us, Peter.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so let me correct myself. That was Stanbic IBTC Stockbrokers. So now, Peter, it's the last trading day of April, and so far it has not been too good for many investors, depending on what side of the divide you belong. If you're a profit taker, or maybe you're just someone who has been there and not taking profit. So now, can you give us a bit of a review of the month of April, where we see so much of happenings from the reactions to Q1 results, as well as some other factors that played into the market this month?
All right, like you said, we had a lot that happened in the month of April. April was the month that we saw most of the reactions to the recapitalization news for the banks, and that saw most of the banks depressed. We saw weaknesses, sell-off in the banks, and also more quarter one numbers were released into the markets, which if you look at especially the consumer names and some industrial, we saw some weakness, especially as a result of the FX losses. So we saw a sell-off in some of these sectors as well. But I mean, if you look at the banks, we started seeing the 2023 financial year numbers for banks and also few Q1 numbers, which look positive. So overall, was quite negative in the markets. Like you mentioned, month to date lost more than 6% already for the month, especially in the banks. And banks had already lost 25% month to date. So that shows the negative sentiment for the banks on the back of the recapitalization news and also FX losses for other consumer names.
Okay, so now that takes me to the latest earnings results. We've had some Q1 earnings. Yes, we're in the second quarter, but some earnings results are still coming in for the first quarter. And the latest so far has been telecoms giant MTN Nigeria, which, if I'm correct, that should be the second most capitalized equity on the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Now, it is reporting a drop in its pre-tax profit, a loss of about 575.69 billion naira loss in its operating profits for the first month of this first 6 months of this year, and is also attributing this to the loss in FX rate and the naira devaluation. So, can you tell us more about this MTN's earnings in the first quarter of this year?
Well, that shouldn't be surprising, especially when we look at most of the consumer names. There have been challenges with the FX losses, devaluation, and stuff like that. So MTN is just one of them. And for the first quarter, the first 3 months of this year, like you mentioned, the loss recorded is over 575 billion on the back of the debt as well as their contracts that they have. So I think the real question going forward is the company has put forward so many strategic plans that they want to execute just to ensure that these losses are taken out. We hope that the devaluation, we've started seeing naira strengthening against dollar, so that will also help on one side, and possibly other strategic plans they are putting in place. And I also, I mean, the conversation telco have been having that they want to increase their tariff. I think if this also comes upstream, though it may be negative for consumer, but it will help. So let's watch that space. Overall, I think there are plans in place for them to return to profitability in the next 6 months, 3 months, so to say, by the time we get to half year.
Okay, Peter, I can't wait for that to become a reality because, of course, MTN Nigeria, where with so many investors there, they really want to see profits, not losses, so that they can pay very good dividend. But thank you for your analysis on our show. That was Peter Abe, equity trader at Stanbic IBTC Stockbrokers, with details of the equities market. So, Ini, I don't know if I have much time to give you more details.
You certainly don't, Aniti.
Well, I think that I'll call that sports.
Yes. Thank you so much, though, for bringing us up to speed on that. All right, now let's head to Europe, where global tech giants have been on the EU's radar for a while. There's rarely a month without Brussels offering more regulation for their companies. There's a new round now, and we have Lars joining us with the details. Hi, Lars, good afternoon. So what's this one about?
Thanks for having me, Ini. Well, this time it's Meta they're going after. That, of course, is the company behind Facebook and Instagram. As it seems, European Union regulators are opening a probe into those Meta platforms over concerns that the company is not doing enough to counter disinformation from Russia. Regulators suspect that Meta's content moderation is not going far enough to stop the dissemination of political advertising that risks undermining the electoral process. Now, propaganda propaganda out of the Kremlin has long been known to be a dangerous tool to meddle with international politics. And this year, it could be even more dangerous than in previous years. First of all, a fast evolving tech allows for ever more manipulation. And we're also in an important election year, of course, with elections coming up in Britain, Austria, Georgia, and of course in the United States. Also, elections to the European Parliament are due in June.
Yeah, so this is unrelated to previous action that the EU took with regards to its often discussed Data Act. Is this connected?
It is indeed, but that doesn't mean that those issues have been resolved. As a matter of fact, the EU has also just said that Apple's operating system for iPads must comply with those tougher new rules that Brussels is imposing to rein in the world's biggest digital companies. So now we're talking about the Digital Markets Act again, and the European Commission designates the iPad OS system as a gatekeeper, meaning that it too has to take further steps to allow competition between online platforms. Other Apple products have previously been designated as such gatekeepers, including iOS for iPhones, the App Store, and the Safari browser. Add to that Google parent Alphabet, but other companies too, such as Amazon and Microsoft. And we see that the EU is being really careful to rein in big tech in general.
All right, let's head to the markets now and see what's on the mind of investors.
Well, we're looking at a pretty weak trading day, it seems. There's not much conviction in the markets, but likely that's just because everyone is waiting for some EU inflation data out later today. Analysts are expecting inflation in the Eurozone to be at 2.4%, unchanged from the month before. And since inflation is what everyone is looking at to learn more about the ECB's future interest rate policy, we'll just have to wait and see what we're getting. Other than that, we're looking at the auto sector, where Mercedes had a pretty bad start this year with revenue and profit down, mostly as demand for the brand's luxury cars is down. They're also having problems in their supply chain that makes business tough. Volkswagen also gave a pretty weak quarter report, so that's also putting some pressure on markets.
All right, Lars, thank you so much for that update. Now let's come to Africa and see what's going there. We start off from Zimbabwe, where the yearly inflation rate for April 2024 increased to more than 52. In fact, it has hit 57.5%, and it's on the back of expectation that it will decline significantly going forward, owing to the impact of that new currency. They call it Zimbabwe Gold, or ZiG. That's their new currency. Presenting the latest statistics, the Zimbabwe National Statistics Agency notes that the year-on-year inflation rate for April 2024, measured by the All Items Consumer Price Index, was up 57.5%. This means that prices, as measured by the All Items CPI, increased by an average of that number between April 2023 and 2024. The month-on-month food and non-alcoholic beverages inflation was 4.2% in April, shedding 3.9 percentage points on March 2024 rate of 8.1%. The food poverty line for a person in April 2024 was ZiG 424.95. We head to Uganda now, where that country has signed an agreement with Saudi Arabia's Islamic Development Bank, the IDB, for $295 million loan to fund road construction and other projects. And then the move underscores Uganda's efforts to diversify its sources of external funding, as talks with the World Bank to resume lending have dragged on without fruition. Uganda Finance Minister Matia Kasaija signed a loan agreement with IDB President Mohammed Al-Jasser in Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh. The money will finance construction of bridge crossing the River Nile in northwest Uganda and roads totaling 105 kilometers. The World Bank, traditionally Uganda's biggest external lender, suspended new loans to the country after the enactment of anti-homosexuality law. And now in South Africa, expectation of new prices of fuel set to start May the 1st. That's tomorrow, Wednesday. Motorists can expect an increase in the retail price of petrol, while there's a decrease in the wholesale price of diesel. This is according to the data from the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy. The retail price of petrol will go up by 37 cents, making it 25 rands 49 cents a litre. In Gauteng, 24 cents 70 cents, 24 rands 70 cents a litre. And then diesel, on the other hand, will see a 30 cents per litre decrease in wholesale price, making it 22 rand 15 cents a litre in Gauteng and 21 rand 36 cents on the coast. The whole price of illuminating paraffin will decrease by 19 cents per litre. The rand depreciated against the US dollar during the period under review on average when compared to previous period. We're still in South Africa, and according to the South African National Treasury, the country's real GDP growth is forecast at 1.6% over the next 3 years. This slow economic growth has negatively affected many entrepreneurs in the country. Meanwhile, entrepreneur Lesogo Senelo believes that technology can be a vital tool in helping South African entrepreneurs overcome economic challenges and access new markets.
So technology is a huge enabler for the global economy, let alone entrepreneurs. I think COVID, if nothing else, taught us the importance of having reach, and technology was a huge part of that. When it comes to entrepreneurs, it opens up markets beyond where a person is located. And in fact, through some of the work that we've done with the Diamond Circle, we've had interprovincial transactions happen as a consequence of utilizing technology. So looking into the world of work, the future of work, certainly technology would be a great enabler in ensuring that entrepreneurs are successful. Certainly, I think manufacturing, if I look at South Africa and certainly the continent holistically, it's one aspect that we've outsourced to our own detriment over the long term. So certainly anything in the manufacturing space, provided we've got a solid local market, and from a leverage perspective, a solid global market where we can export to, given currency strength at the moment. And I think it's also one of those that can build scale in terms of job creation and facilitating skills beyond. Then certainly technology as well, as an enabling industry. There's a whole lot of opportunities that are not geography bound, and so anyone can work practically from anywhere in the world for really big multinationals and make an impact.
Obviously, technology is an enabler, but the infrastructure to sustain the technology is also another conversation for the African continent. Well, let's head to the crypto space now and see what's going on there. I know yesterday the market was kind of undecided. You were neutral yesterday.
Well, we have
yes. Now we've made up our mind.
Yeah, but it's still quite neutral, but to the downside at this point. But it's getting a little greedy.
Yeah, so the numbers changed from when the last time you looked at the numbers,
which was neutral. So we're seeing more greed at this time, but the market is red.
So red.
Very, very red at this point.
At
Deep
61
red. Just a few pockets of green.
Yeah.
Right now, with Bitcoin, they're down about 1.33% this afternoon, and Ethereum is holding on to that $3,000 level by a hair's breadth at this time. Let's look at other headlines, top headlines now. The market, we see, it's all about ETFs. Still, Hong Kong, they've opened 6 Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs this time. The first Asian country right now to release these exchange traded funds, becoming the first in Asia. So definitely, that's more demand we're seeing right there for Bitcoin, with more ETFs popping up, in different countries. And we see Bitcoin on track for the first monthly loss. So April has not been so good for Bitcoin this time. It did get as high as $72,000 in this month, but now we see Bitcoin struggling to hold 60K at this time. And we did hear from some top voices in financial markets saying that Bitcoin could get lower than $60,000, maybe at $59,000 Then Ripple, that's the company behind the XRP. They're set to unlock 1 billion XRP tokens. That's coming tomorrow, and that's valued about over $500,000. So definitely, we know how crypto unlocks impact crypto markets at this time. Definitely, investors might be expecting some kind of sell-off when it comes to that token. That's the XRP coin at this time. All right, let's get a sense of what's happening in the markets now. Talking about the P2P market in Nigeria. We know that market has been under a lot of pressure lately. Let's find out how investors are navigating that. Let's bring in Emmanuel Anyasi now, crypto influencer. Great to have you, Emmanuel.
Yeah, good afternoon, Williams.
Yeah, so definitely, we know the P2P market has been had the attention of regulators at this time right here in Nigeria. And now I hear that P2P scams are on the rise as traders try to, navigate not being able to use some of the platforms they're used to, like Binance, for P2P trades. Talk to me about how traders are managing at this time.
Yeah, let's get to the P2P scam. Like, even when Binance was actually doing P2P and other people, we know the country we live in is Nigeria, and we know that scams are actually more. These P2P scams, all these scams you see online and all that, people are actually there to perpetrate these things. We may call them Yahoo boys or internet scammers and all that. So since I've been trading, I know that they are scammers. They will put at a higher price. For when you get to pay them, they start telling you story, or when they time to pay you, they start doing one kind of thing that you one way or the other, they will cheat you out of your money. So over the years, I've come to realize that it's not about going for the highest bid price. It's all about what is the difference between 1 naira or 2 naira. If I can get a verified merchant, somebody that has been trading, somebody has been doing business on the platform, people trust over the years, and is verified on the platform, that is the person I want to trade with. I don't want to see somebody that is quoting, if dollar is trading at 1,200, somebody is quoting 1,250, or somebody is quoting 1,220. What am I going to use the 20 naira difference to do? Those kind of things actually give, many people actually does go dive into this, go and pick this order, and they are scammers. Because the P2P platform is an open platform where people can come and showcase and buy, people can come and sell. So the whole thing, the exchange, the platform doesn't have responsibility over this. That is why they do verification. You can still verify merchants if you want to trade with them, and you can trade with them.
Okay, Manuel, but you said that little 20 naira, sometimes doesn't make much difference. But, it depends on the volume, you're trading at this time.
Yeah, 20
naira can make a big difference.
It doesn't entice me that much because I know that it may not be real. I want to go to somebody who is selling at least below, somebody who is verified, who I know that, okay, he has many trades, he has done so many trades, you understand? Somebody who has good review, somebody who people have done business with and is verified on the platform. Is the person I want to trade with, even if he's selling at 1,200.
All right, so, talk to me. Definitely, there's a lot of pressure on that market at this time, but where do you see the P2P market, going forward, say in the next couple of years?
Well, the P2P market is here. It's here to stay. But I think the best thing, we should go back to the low note days. I don't know why, if government can actually make effort to actually get this synergy between crypto people and the federal government and all this, so that people will not get scammed and all this P2P thing will actually just at least ease up. In the low note days, you don't need to find anybody to buy or sell this thing. Just do, and everything is transacted through bank accounts, you get credited. And Luno was actually doing well in Nigeria. They had offices here, they had so many things. Not only Luno, even some places. Even those days, Binance was actually doing it. If you want to sell your crypto, just do, and they send it directly to you. It was during the CBN ban on cryptocurrency and stop bank transfer that actually stop all those kind of stuffs. But I am actually expecting us to actually go to this stage. Let's remove these things. Like these verified platforms, they cannot scam anybody of their money. Nobody can say, okay, they scam, except some of these local exchanges that most times, like Patricia, like what they did, like people lost money and all those kind of things, which is also part of the risk. But I think it's actually somehow safe. But me, I've never had any problem with P2P that much. I've never had any problem with P2P.
So I guess some kind of regulation will be needed for, Nigerian, maybe crypto exchange platform so that they can actually play by the rules and, people can actually, trade on the open. But let's talk about the market. Now, we see April, it seems to be a red month for Bitcoin. April is the final trading day of April. What are you expecting for May? And do you think meme coins will still be the go-to investment asset class right there in the crypto market?
Yeah, I want to say something. The whole meme thing, I think meme is going to kick you. Meme is going to kick cryptocurrency. Because it started as a joke with Dodge last bull market. Last bull market came, people actually made money. Well, meme pays better for maybe influencers and marketers. But when you look at it, like you discover that it's not actually good for the industry. Like, look at this bull market now. The first choice of people is actually me. Utility projects are not actually doing well. The drive for crypto adoption is actually going down because these projects that have something to actually do, they are not getting the support again they need. People are not buying them. People are not investing in them. People believe to go and buy one cat coin or one meme coin just to gamble their money, knowing that they can lose. And if we are to go into a bear market, it's going to be the worst bear market ever because meme coins actually do crash more than any other thing. And many people money are into meme coin. It's sad to see it, but it is what it is. It shouldn't have gotten to this place in the first place. Bitcoin should have been something of maybe something of fun and but now it's a serious business. And that is just it. For BTC, the chart is actually me. I like working with the chart since there is no news. There is actually no fundamental analysis news that is actually driving the market. The chart actually looks weak. It looks like something that is going down to around 51,000 or 52,000. If this support will not even hold, probably we may see it around 40 something K zone. The Bitcoin ETF they passed in the US actually priced in. If you see the chart, it has gone up, only. And you know that Bitcoin is actually a very risky asset. So I think many people who are actually in profit will try to take. And chart doesn't go up only. It will try to retrace and actually get momentum and actually spike back up. So I've been actually watching it around. I will be watching around maybe 51,000 or less than 50,000. So I'm actually expecting it to actually go down from the chart analysis, from my technical analysis viewpoint.
All right, I guess
maybe
we'll
any
keep
news
tracking.
that can actually bring us up.
Yeah, we're watching out for that catalyst. Thank you so much, Emmanuel Anyase, crypto influencer. Thank you so much.
Thank you, laddie.
So there you have it. Emmanuel's calling for maybe a $50,000 Bitcoin at some point. But who knows? These markets can surprise.
Yeah, and we're still looking for, I will not give up on those huge predictions of $100,000 and 90 at least.
It just seems so impossible. But we'll see.
I guess with time. All right, Laddie, thank you so much. Well, that's it on the program. Thanks so much for being a part of Business Incorporated for a second day. Remember, you can always go to our website, youtube.com/channels web, and you will see both Business Morning and Business Incorporated. Repeat this experience anytime you want at your convenience. I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, before I see you tomorrow, I'll see you tonight for the stock market. I do hope that the bear will show its face today. Bye-bye.